Okay, so there's a couple of things I want to clarify before I even start this tier list. This is a PvP tier list. I probably failed to explain that in the last video. So yes, this is a PvP based tier list. It is not PvE. So everyone you're seeing here, the majority of the units are based on their PvP. Some units, they can't be used in PvP. So I'll explain all of that later in the video. But yeah, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more Grand Cross content if you enjoy. This is for entertainment purposes, so don't take it to heart. Try not to take it too seriously. But yeah, let's go ahead and just get into the video. Alright, so the last video I did was the red units, right? I did a red unit tier list, and I went over all the red SSR units in the game and where they stand, in my personal opinion, right? Again, opinion is the key word. Where they stand in PvP and the meta shifts and etc, etc. So I'm going to do the same exact thing with the HP units in the game, right? So I guess we can just go ahead and get into it. So right now in SS tier, in my opinion, these are the 5 units that I think are just SS tier off rip. So I'll explain. Fraudrin, he is not SS tier until you wail on him. So it's a little hard to like say whether or not what tier he could be in. I probably should have just made like a tier for just like wail. Like that's where Fraudrin would be. But yes, if you do build him up, he is insane, because he does gatekeep alt rush teams, so he can be really, really good. Unfortunately, all green units right now suffer because red units are on top. Like, they are crazy good, and they have crazy units. So green is kind of like in a meh position, because if you use green, I guarantee you the team is running some sort of red unit. Whether it be Keel, Lost Fiend, Eskenor, whatever, right? I'm pretty sure they're running some type of red unit. So that does suck, but it is what it is. So yeah, right. Fraudrin is a very good gatekeeper to alt rush and just like alt gauge in general. He can prevent it from going up as long as you have the higher CC, which is why he's a whale character. So yeah. And then we got Eskenor. You already know why Eskenor's here. Eskenor is a god. He is insane. He still is one of the top tier units in the game, in my opinion. He can remove buffs with his Cruel Sun. He has 500% attack damage on his skill 1. He can fill up his alt gauge. His passive allows him to become immune to all debuffs in the game, which is absolutely insanity. Then he hits his ultimate hits like a goddamn freight train. He has amazing stats, crazy peers. He's just really, really good, and he's still used on JP even to this day. It's insane. It's just absolutely insane. Like, it's crazy. Halloween Galther. Halloween Galther is a very, very brand new unit to Global and JP, in all honesty. He's very new. But he is like SS tier because he's not like a carbon copy of the red one, but he is like similar, right? He's very similar to the red one. He has a rank up. He has the same ultimate. His skill 1 and passive is like the main thing that differentiates from the red one. So his skill 1 rolls back ultimates, right? At the end of the turn, the enemy turn, it rolls back ultimates. So it's not like Merlin where it just takes off the ult gauge right then and there. It rolls it back at the end of the enemy turn. So it can be useful. Then obviously his rank up is crazy, crazy good. His passive though, his passive is where he shines. As long as you have 3 different races on the team, you're getting a 7% attack related stat buff at the end of every turn. So yeah, or at the start of your turn. My apologies. At the start of your turn, you're getting a 7% attack related stats buff. So yeah, and the thing about that too is that it doesn't appear like a regular buff. Like for example, Easton, how she buffs the units, it doesn't appear as a regular buff. It's like one of those hidden passive ones, so it won't come up. You can literally combo this in with another unit that buffs the unit, so it's kind of insane. So yes, he is SS tier, even though he's brand new. Rugal, you guys already know why he's SS tier. He like literally brought Pierce teams back to life on JP, and he made Pierce teams so strong. His passive is insane. If you get him below 50%, automatically he'll heal up all his HP, remove debuffs, and all his stats go up by 15%. Crazy, crazy good. He also has more pierce damage than Blue Demon Meliotis. So yeah, he's really, really crazy, man. He is insane. And then you got Valenti. Valenti is Rule's worst nightmare, actually. You already know, she stops pierce teams in their tracks like right away. She is crazy, crazy good with that passive of hers that allows her to reduce pierce rate as long as her resistance is very, very high. If her resistance is low, it's not going to be as effective, but she has pretty good base resistance anyway, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But again, she's really, really good. She stops pierce teams, and not only that, she is a very, very good counter to people that have high pierce rate anyway, because let's say, for example, Eskenor, right? Eskenor has extremely high pierce rate, but she can lower it down, so he's not going to hit as hard, right? So very, very good. So that takes care of the SS tier. Then we have the S tier. So S tier, there's only really 3 units in my opinion. I mean, I guess you could. It's hard. Green units are really, really weird. It's hard to say, but I can make an argument as to see why you would put Merlin in SS tier, because Merlin does help alt rush teams, right? But aside from that, she does like die fairly often whenever like she comes out on the field because of the red units again. But not only that, she has her barrier, which is very helpful sometimes. If the unit is strong enough to go through the barrier one hit, it doesn't really do anything. And then of course she depletes alt gauge. So I would say I can see an argument for putting her in SS, but for me, I don't think I would put her in SS simply because you're not using Merlin, you're using her on the back. You know what I mean? You're using her on the back, and she is used often because Lost Vein is out, right? So you want to get Lost Vein's ultimate and completely nuke the field. So again, when she comes out, she can be troublesome, but I don't think she's anything too hard to deal with, in all honesty. It's just her passive is annoying because it helps the enemy get their alt gauge faster. So if that makes sense, I just think that she is S tier. I don't think I would put her in SS tier. And then we get to Esterosa, right? Esterosa, I love Esterosa, but honestly, I found that if he doesn't use full counter, he's pretty he's pretty not that great, in all honesty, because his main thing is full counter. That is the card, like that is the card, right? So if you don't have a full counter, the enemy can literally attack you and you're not doing anything to the back, right? So you can't counter back because you didn't use full counter. And then his first skill is a little underwhelming. If like I'm being honest, it is a little bit not that great because it doesn't do as much damage as you think it might. So it is unfortunate, right, that he is not in SS tier. But his passive is where he really shines, because once he uses his full counter, and anyone on the team that has taunt, they become debuff immune. So that is where he really, really shines. Plus his blackout, which gives you basically a free turn, and if the enemy hits you, you get a free hit off the bat. So I mean, again, if you wanted to argue him in SS tier, I would not, I would not be opposed to it. But for me personally, I think he is SS tier, and the fact that he's not ran as much anymore makes it a little bit, acceptable as to why he should be an S tier. You know what I mean? So then we go to Green Fighter Diane. Green Fighter Diane, really, in all honesty, could be A tier. I don't think she's SS tier. I think she could be S tier or A tier. Her taunt is really good, but I found that people just like hammer through her because they know she is going to taunt and or become a nuisance in long-term battle. Her first, when she first appears in battle, that rock barrier that she does, it's not that strong either, so that's not really all that helpful. But again, she can taunt. If you use her with Esterosa, she can become debuff immune or whatever. But again, I don't think she's all that crazy. I put her in S tier because I know you can come up with crazy comps with her. So that's why I put her in S tier. And I do think that her pierce on her ultimate is really strong. I think her sever on her skill 1 is great. So again, she has a good kit going for her. I just think that she has aged, so it is a little bit harder for her to keep up with the ever-changing meta, especially with units on JP. On global right now, she is still somewhat relevant if you use her like with Lost Vein and Fraudrin, but the problem with that is Fraudrin is a whale character, so if he doesn't out CC the enemy team, the comp is not that great. So again, S or A tier. I put her in S tier because I think she can still be useful. I don't want to completely like bash on her. I think she does have a good kit going for her, right? All right, so then we get to the A tier unit. So Titan Aaron, he did get a slight buff where when he transforms into a Titan, his HP fully recovers. So that is good. Before that, he was definitely a B tier unit for me. I just found that he wasn't that great, especially when he wasn't 6'6", because he just didn't provide much. When he transformed into a Titan, like at 1 out of 6, it wasn't even that much of a debuff to the enemy team either, and it wasn't that much of an increase. But when he is 6'6", he is good. He's really good. The problem with that is he is exclusive. He's a collab unit, so we don't know if he'll ever return or like when he'll return, if he does. So again, that does hurt him a little bit, especially if you only have him like, let's say 3 out of 6. It does hurt him because you're not going to run him over Eskenor, because Eskenor you can get 6/6 from part 1 tickets, and Eskenor just has a better overall damage output than Titan Aaron, if that makes sense, until he transforms. Again, once he transforms, it's a different story, but right now with the meta and how many like red units there are, Titan Aaron doesn't really have a place, in all honesty. Yes, he can be good if you build him up. I'm not saying he's bad or anything. I'm just saying he is a little bit iffy because of the fact you can't 6/6 him, especially now. If you got him 6/6, cool, whatever. Maybe then he'll be S tier if you use him, like if you main him or whatever. But me personally, I don't have him 6/6. I think I have him 3 out of 6, and I know a lot of people probably don't have him 6/6 either. So yeah, he's gonna go ahead and stay at A tier for me. I don't think I'm gonna like give him up a rank. I think if you do build him and whatever, then maybe he can be S tier, but he definitely is not SS tier. He's probably A or like S tier, like hanging on to S tier, right, by a nimble thread. So yeah, that's where I'll put him. Then we got the boy himself, new legend Meliotis. He's good. I just think he came out at a horrible time with Lost Vein Meliotis, so he was literally like just in the shadow of Lost Vein, but I think he is a very good unit. The problem is, again, there's so many reds that he doesn't do anything. Like, he just can't do anything to red units. He just doesn't provide much either. His passive is good for him because if he does end up killing, let's say he kills someone with alt gauge, he can double alt, so that is good. That is really, really good. But other than that, his skills are eh. Like, you don't want to really use his skill 2, which is that Dark Flame AoE attack, because one, I'm almost sure of it that you'll face a Lost Vein and you'll definitely crit on him because his crit chance is very, very high, and you don't want to really attack Lost Vein with this unit because he's green. So it is unfortunate that he came out around like with Lost Vein, literally like I think with Lost Vein's banner. So people were running Lost Vein, and then you had this Meliotis who was just swept under the rug. So it is unfortunate, but he also does have the seal mechanic on his skill 1, which is good. You can use that in like against units, but the main thing about him is that he is green and he came out at a horrible time. But I think he is solid A tier. I don't think he'll move up, and I don't think he'll move down, but I think he is a solid A tier in the green PvP unit list, right? So I mean, again, really good unit, not trying to take anything away from him, but I just think he came out at a terrible time. So it is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead and get to the B tier. So the B tier unit, the B tier unit list is where things start to get rough. Okay, so Ban. You got Ban here, who is really good, but he is aged. He's aged a lot. His X-Store isn't that great, and then also his AoE isn't that great either because he can get literally stomped. He can legit just get stomped out in one turn if he doesn't X-Store. So again, his passive also like relies on him not getting hit, which is not happening because Gauther exists, and he'll just attack disable this ban and he can't do anything against it. So I don't think this ban's C tier, but I think he is aging quite a bit. I do think he is aging quite a bit, and when more green units come out in the future for global, I think he will move down from B, unfortunately. But it is what it is. He is a very old unit, so I mean, age got to him, man. It's sad. I love that unit too. I still do like Green Band, but I don't use him myself. But I still do like him. I think he has a very good setup for beginners. So if you do cop him, like you just started the game, he's good. He's good for the beginning parts of PvP. But once you get up there, nah, just don't use him. All right, so then we got Greymore. Greymore is good. I like Greymore. I think he's underrated a little bit. I myself have underrated him a lot, but he's good. He can tank really, really well if you manage to get his ultimate and then you use his skill 2, or like just build him up with, you know, support or whatever you do. But I think he is really good. I can see if you put him down to C tier, but for me personally, I think he's B tier with all triple defense, right? He's amazing. I'm not even gonna lie. Plus, he has an AoE cancel stances. I know that can be a little bit like underwhelming because it's like cancel stances. Who cares? But when you fight an Esterosa, then you won't be saying that because he canceled the stances, right? So it's really, really cool. And I think his passive's not that great. It's just like 30% of his defense goes into his attack. If he's sporting like what 12k defense, okay, cool. But we don't have the Super Awakening system yet, so he's not going to be that great. But I do think he is B tier. I can see C tier, right? I don't think he's worse than C tier. I really don't think he's worse than C tier because he's usable. So he got a solid spot. Jericho definitely B tier. She's a one-hitter quitter type deal. She's really a glass cannon. You have to like get weakness off with her skill 1 to do damage. Otherwise, you're not doing anything to her or the enemy. So if you do though, she can literally one shot. So it's crazy. It's crazy. She's a good unit. She's a very good unit, and she's staying at B tier. If you want to move her lower, I can see that. I don't think higher, but you got, again, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I think she's B tier, but whatever, right? Green King. I think Green Fairy King is a very, very underrated unit. I myself don't even have him 80 out of 80, but I think he's a very, very underrated unit. He can crit like crazy because of his passive. So his passive increases his crit chance by 10% per ult gauge that he has. So when it's at max, it literally doubles. So it's like 100% crit chance. You're never not going to crit with this unit, never. So it's literally bonkers. And then he uses his ultimate at 6/6. He's literally like wiping the field. Like it's insane. Like this unit is really good. I think I think it's going to be a little troublesome trying to get his ultimate gauge right, but I think he is really, really solid at B tier. I don't think I'm going to move him down to C tier, especially since if he crits, like let's say, not Lost Pain, but let's say he crits Gauther, he can do damage. He really can do damage, and he has like Ruin on his skill too, which to be honest, I think with Kyo it might work, but Ruin is kind of an ability unless it's like Gloxini on JP where it's on the ultimate. Then it's crazy. Then it's just batshit crazy. But for skill, not so much, honestly, not so much. But yeah, B tier. So then Shin. Shin is a unit where it's kind of like you have to I don't know. Shin is a unit where it's all his moves are AoE, by the way, but Shin is definitely a good unit. I just think that I don't see him being in A tier because again, he's green, and then AoEs aren't that like strong normally, but he does have weakness and he can proc the weakness himself. I just think you're gonna have a better like chance at using someone else other than Shin. But if you want to use Shin, completely fine. He also has Shatter on his ultimate, so he's good, right? He's good at solid B. Okay, Monspeed and Derriere. I was debating putting Monspeed at C, but I think B tier is fair for him, and I also think B tier is fair for Derriere. Monspeed has weakness, and once the enemy is ignited, he can do like crazy numbers. It's insane, especially with Green Gauther out. Crazy damage. Derriere, she's a support unit, so she's staying at B. She's not as good as Merlin at all, but she still can be useful, I guess, with Monspeed, and their commandments co-align, so it's cool. I guess it's pretty cool. C tier. Yeah, you can't use C tier. Goddess Elizabeth, not that great. Gilia can be okay, but not that great. Honestly, I can see you moving her down to D tier, right, or trash, or whatever you want to do. But me personally, I think she can be useful, so I put her in C tier. Captain Meliotis, he's not as great as he once was at the beginning of the game, but I mean, if you get his full counter off, he's doing crazy numbers. That you can only use it one time though, so that's what sucks about him. But he's still decent, I guess. Death Pierce literally just ran on the back. Literally ran on the back. Nothing else to say about that. Green Fat King. Green Fat King. Yeah, no. Lilia, garbage. Then you have this band. No, trash. Yeah, literally, like, C tier and down, you can't really use any of these units, man. Like, Gilia is an exception because she has, like, charge. She has an AoE, which I think it's a defense down thing. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. But, yeah, she can be somewhat useful, I guess. Meliotis has a counter stance, and he can be cool, right, I guess. And then Death Pierce is just around on the back. And then all of these other units... Literally, Zeratas you can't even use in PvP, so it's unfortunate because his passive only works in PvE content. You're not using Hellbrom ever. Ever, 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 ever. He's outdated. Elaine can't be used in PvP. Well, she can, but she's gonna get curb stomped because she's she's not that great. She doesn't have too many like good things going for her. She can derank skills, but that's a single target. She can remove the Oak Gauge, but that's an AoE, which you really typically don't want to do because Lostbane's running around. Then you got Green Diane here. She can't do much either, to be honest with you. Yeah, all of these other units like C tier and below, you're just never gonna use. If you use them, I apologize. But literally you're never going to use them in combat, right? Death Pierce, literally Death Pierce is the only one you're running on the back. The rest of them, you're probably not even going to use because we have other good options for greens. But, yeah, man, I just, like, I think this tier list, I mean, it's a little bit more iffy than Red. Red is kind of like set in point where their DPS dealers are insane, but Green has a combination of supports, DPS, like it's crazy, tanks, like they have a whole mash, right? So if you guys have, you know, various opinions, different opinions, let me know in the comment section below. Obviously it's a tier list, so it's very opinionated, but let me know. I'm really interested in hearing you guys thoughts and what you think about the units and how the tier list is. Again, I don't know, you guys convince me some of these units can be up or down. Let me know, but I think for the most part it's a pretty sturdy tier list. Maybe not the best tier list, I guess, but it's a pretty sturdy one in my opinion. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video. Not much else to say. Again, thank you all. I meant to say this. Thank you all for 750 subscribers. It means a lot to me. We're gonna aim for I can't believe I'm saying this, but we're gonna aim for 1,000 subscribers. So hopefully we can get there. But yes, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot to me. And with that, I will see you all in the next video.